Hey everybody, welcome to the Dave Burgess Consulting Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube live stream as well. And we are here for a very special occasion, and that is a book birthday. And I am joined by two special guests, and that is Dr. Kyndall Brown and Dr. Pam Seda. And thank you so much to both of you for being here.
Glad to be here. Thanks for inviting us.
Yes,
Absolutely.
happy to be here.
And the occasion is the release, finally, after a ton of hard work on both of your parts, of choosing to see a framework for equity in the math classroom. Well, first of all, I just got it in the mail today, and it is just as gorgeous in person as it has been in all these mock-ups that we've seen. And so it's so great to hold it. And Pam, I know you got your copy, and Kyndall, your copy is waiting for you. And so so congratulations to both of you on the book. And we can't wait to get it in people's hands. And maybe if you could give us a little background on who you are and what you do right now. And Pam, maybe I'll start with you.
Okay, sure. I'm Pam Seda. I am currently the math coordinator for Griffin-Spalding County Schools. This is my second year. So I'm in charge of the K-12 math program for our school district, which is about 40 miles south of Atlanta. And I'm also the owner of Seda Educational Consulting Company, where I provide professional development. I'm creator of the Vang game, which is a math card game, and I sell math posters.
Fantastic. Awesome. And Kyndall, how about you?
All right, so I'm the executive director of the California Mathematics Project, and we do professional and leadership development for K-12 teachers of mathematics all across the state of California. I began my career as a middle and high school math teacher, and I've been doing professional development for the last about 25, 26 years. And so I'm just really excited about sharing some of the experiences that I've had over the course of my career to help make math education better for all students.
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you so much. And so I think where I wanted to start is there's kind of this belief that has been prevalent that, math is culture neutral. And we're just talking about numbers. So how could there be any need for, to talk about something that's culturally relevant or equity and issues like that? And both of you have so powerfully addressed that in your book. Maybe if you could speak to how you see mathematics as something that is completely something that is based in, it needs to be culturally relevant and have an equity mindset.
You can start, Kyndall.
So, when we think about the topic of mathematics, a lot of times people tend to focus just on arithmetic, adding and subtracting numbers, but math is much more than that. It's algebra and function, it's geometry and measurement, it's data and statistics, it's reasoning and problem solving. And so when you begin to really broaden your understanding of what mathematics is, you see that there are a variety of ways to have students engage in mathematics and a lot of different contexts that you can put mathematics in to make it more understandable for students. So I think what we're really trying to do is broaden people's views about what mathematics is and the ways that it can be taught and the ways that students can experience it, as opposed to just a very narrow.
And to piggyback on that, in our district, we talk about what is doing mathematics. And it's noticing, describing, and generalizing patterns. So the patterns that I notice are going to be in my environment, which are very culturally situated. And then if we talk about describing those patterns, of course, how we describe those patterns are going to be based on my language, based on my prior experiences, based on my understanding of how the world works, is all very culturally situated. And then generalizing those patterns still is about making connections. So the very essence of doing mathematics is very based in our culture. The problem is we've only valued in traditional math classes, we've only valued or made explicit one type of culture. And all peoples from all cultures, even babies from birth, notice patterns. So it's being able to tap into everyone's experiences of being able to say, what patterns do you notice? Well, how can you describe those patterns? And then how might you generalize? That's really is doing mathematics. And you can't separate it from culture.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that we've seen there to be a wild underrepresentation in like STEM in general, and mathematics specifically, of certain cultures, right? And how do you think this book is going to help address that underrepresentation?
Well, what we're really hoping to do is to help teachers to really change the ways that they think about all students. You know, one of the kind of the foundation of the framework that we're using, Pam's brilliant framework that she developed, is being critically conscious and really helping teachers to understand the impact of stereotypes on their thinking and how to overcome those stereotypes so that they can support the students that they're teaching, right? That's really kind of at the essence of the work of the framework that we're trying to implement. It's starting there. And we think once teachers really understand the impact of those stereotypes, then they can really start to think about how to change their perceptions of the students that they're teaching and start to think about different ways to teach.
Yeah, so the title Choosing to See really is us making a choice to see the impact of those stereotypes. Stereotypes, it's almost kind of like fish in water. Like fish don't notice water, it's what they're in. And stereotypes are so pervasive in our culture that we oftentimes aren't even aware. And what we're asking teachers to do by reading this book is go on this journey of choosing to see what are those stereotypes that are impacting your students? How does it impact them? And then making a commitment to doing something about it. So we share our own journey. We share our own personal stories and talk about the transformation because we've been impacted and we've carried a lot of those same stereotypes. And we had to take this journey, and we've just asked you to come on that journey with us in this book.
Yeah, it was so powerful. And Kyndall mentioned the framework, the I see you care, the I letter C you care framework that's in the book. Maybe if you kind of address a little bit about what that stands for and what that entails.
Certainly. So it actually came out of my dissertation. In 2007, I graduated from Georgia State University with my doctorate. And what I studied during that time was this framework that came out of the multicultural teacher education literature, and I applied it specifically to a mathematics classroom. And so, and you'll read about it in the book about how I ended up creating the acronym ICU CARE, but it stands for I, include others as experts. C is be critically conscious. U is understand your students well. C is use culturally relevant curricula. A is activate, assess, activate, and build on prior knowledge. R is release control. And the last E is expect more.
Fantastic. Now, when you maybe on that include others as experts, maybe you could explain that a little bit.
You want to talk about that one, Kyndall? Or?
Sure. So when we talk about including others as experts, we're talking about creating classroom environments that extend beyond the teacher as the sole authority to develop competence and confidence in others as experts, including the students themselves. So often teachers assume that students are coming to their classrooms with no information or experiences that they can build on. And we find that not to be the case. Like Pam was mentioning earlier, students naturally have this pattern recognition ability. It's hardwired into the neocortex of the brain. And so what teachers need to do is to relinquish their authority, their position as the sole authority in the class, and open it up, be open to the lived experiences that the students have, and figure out how to incorporate that into the classroom so that students start to build their own agency and identity around mathematics and see themselves as having expertise that can be valued and shared in the math classroom.
Yeah.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Pam. Go ahead, Pam.
It means decentering the teacher. And it's not about the teacher coming in and sharing all their expertise. It's we take our knowledge and be able to position our kids so that they have something to offer. And so we kind of really think about expertise as being able to contribute to the corporate knowledge of the class. So every kid can be an expert, right? And the issue is, how do we address those status issues in our class? How do we address the unwillingness of some students to not work with another student? How do we make sure that we can spread that expertise across the classroom so that everyone it contributes rather than the teacher being the center of all the expertise?
Yeah, for sure. And I also want to point out, lots of people are joining in the comments. Thank you so much for everyone who's watching and for throwing your comments in. I see several people have already purchased the book. We appreciate that. And several others have said they're going to share with someone that they know that this would be perfect for. And that kind of brings me to the next question is, if people are watching and tuning in and wondering if there's like a particular grade level that this, like, is there a range that this is good for, or is it a K-12 book, or how do you see the book as far as like who would be interested in buying this?
It's definitely a K-12 book, because what we share is a framework. It's a lens. It's a lens for how you think about your math instruction. And so it's just kind of like putting on glasses, and now you can think about, all the instruction you do, no matter what the content is, you can think about, okay, how does this instructional practice, how does this impact these negative stereotypes that impact kids that are in my classroom? So it is definitely K-12. We had the teacher in mind, that these are principles and strategies that you don't have to get permission to do. You don't have to change anything in your district. No policy has to change. And I'm not saying policies don't have to change, but that's not what we addressed in this book. We're saying these are things that teachers can do with their students in their classrooms.
I think that's super important to understand, is that this is, although certainly we need the system to change, right? A teacher can take this book and make changes right now in their curriculum and how they teach and how they deliver their instruction tomorrow. Like this week, it can change. It doesn't have to be a directive from the district office, right, or a statewide thing. Someone could take this book and they're going to be able to implement this mindset, this way of looking at mathematics this coming week.
Absolutely. I would wholeheartedly agree with that. And we are recommending that teachers think about maybe one principle at a time. Think about, what is it that I can do in my, what are some of the ideas I can take from this particular principle? We include discussion questions at the end of the chapter for, we have examples of different activities that are related to each one of the principles. And so we're saying, hey, take it, ingest it, one chapter at a time. Read it, try some things out, have a conversation with your colleagues, and also join the conversation. Let us know how it's working for you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things that we hope is, we kind of see a book as the start of a conversation, not where things stop and finish. And that people will take this book, they'll start to implement it, use it in their classroom with kids, real kids, and then share back those stories of the impact that they're seeing and how this is changing their classroom.
Absolutely, because that's one of the things that we want to make a difference in this book. It's not a how-to. We're not just telling people what to do. We're sharing our own stories, things that actually happened to us. And trust me, I didn't do everything right in the classroom. So I share my successes, but I also share my failures. And so, yes, teaching is incredibly difficult, especially teaching mathematics. And we're just hoping to give you some tools and strategies to start that process, start that dialogue.
Yeah. Now, to give them a little behind the scenes on this project, when the first draft came in, some of the feedback that we had for it was, this is powerful work. This is fantastic. We love it. Maybe it's kind of a little formal and academic, and of course, you two are both academics, and you're in that setting, right? And so we're like, hey, what about, we want to make sure that that your voice really comes strongly through this, that we can hear you and your story. And so maybe if you kind of share what it felt like to transform this and really kind of add your voice to the project.
So
Yeah.
I'll start.
Go ahead.
I'll start, Pam. So I think that's, both of us recognize our challenge in writing, and as people from a math background, we tend to it's all about the facts, right? It's, this is the answer, this is the procedure, this is the particular strategy, right? So it was a challenge, but I think it really helped to make the book much more personable, and I think it helps people really connect to what it is that we're trying to say and the different strategies that we're asking them to implement. So it really helped me to grow as a writer, and to think about my work with teachers and how to make it more personable and something that they can relate to and identify with.
Yeah, I so appreciate the input that we got from the editors, because, as we were shopping around for publishers, that was one of the things we knew. We knew we're math people, and so we knew that we were going to need that type of support, and we were just so grateful that that our editors really did help us along the way to help us personalize it. And it's funny, we would have little jokes going back and forth. We would say, "That's kind of academic, isn't it?" We knew it wasn't. Sometimes we're like, "Oh my gosh, we got to go back to the drawing board and work on this." So, yeah, and even the fact that we were working with people who weren't necessarily in the math field, I thought that was a real strength, because actually, equity goes way beyond mathematics, and a lot of these principles, definitely go across content areas. And we felt like that was a real strength as well, to have that type of support.
Yeah, and we're super proud of how it came out, because I think it ended up as a perfect mixture of both of your like strong research foundation, right, and like the real hard academic stuff, but yet that personal side where people are going to be able to connect with you as the authors and to really feel those stories, and to I think it's the best of both worlds is how it came out. And so we're really proud of the work that you did.
Thank you.
Thank
We're
you.
proud too.
And we have the picture of it down there at the bottom, but here it is again. And I'll tell you, the other thing that we're proud of is this cover, which is absolutely gorgeous. And it's we can't wait for people to get this in their hands and to see it, because like I said, it's even more beautiful in person. And Kyndall, I can't wait for you to get home and be able to pick up your copy as well.
I can't wait either. I can't wait.
Yeah, when I got home and I got it off my doorstep today, and I took it and opened the package, and I just screamed when I held it, because it's like, it's finally real. It's like when I held it, it's finally real. So
yeah. Now, hopefully both of you have been practicing your signatures and getting it ready, because I know that you're going to be hit up by a lot of people now who are going to want you to put your signature right in that front cover.
I'd be glad to.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
All right.
Yes.
Well, for everybody's tuning in, this book is out today. You can pick it up on Amazon. You can pick it up Barnes & Noble, wherever you get your books. And it is fantastic. And maybe I'll go to each of you. I'll start with Kyndall. Kyndall, if there's a part of the book that you think, like if there's a takeaway, if people are listening and you want them to come away with something about this book and about teaching math and this message that you have put out into the world, what would you want it to be?
That I really want people to recognize the genius that all students have in terms of their mathematical ability, and that it's really about taking the time to listen to them, to get to know who they are as people, and to figure out how you can connect their personal lives and experiences to the curriculum to help build their mathematical identity and agency, so that we can have a lot more students be successful in mathematics than currently are.
And I love that. Pam, how about you? What is the big takeaway you want people to come away with from this book?
So I think about two stories. There's a story in there about Jasmine, and there's a story in there about Myra, and I'm pretty transparent how I had been very unsuccessful with them. And the takeaway I take from that is sometimes you just don't know what's going to connect until you try, and that it's our job to keep trying.
Mm-hmm.
And that this book are things that you can try, and that you just never know what might be that thing that unlocks that door to mathematics, which can totally change their lives.
Mm-hmm.
So that's to me the thing that I would take from that is we can't afford to give up on anyone.
Yeah, I love that. Absolutely. And I want to thank both of you and congratulate you on the publication of this work. We cannot wait to see it in people's hands. Most importantly, we can't wait to see it actually being implemented in classrooms and to see this work actually reach students and the real world. And that's what we're about to see next. Is it's going to start arriving to people on their doorstep. And right after that, it's going to be showing up in classrooms. And that's what it's all about. And so congratulations on your book birthday. For everybody listening, please go pick up this book. Again, it is K-12. Anybody who is teaching any level of math to students, this is for you. And this is going to transform how you look at mathematics instruction, and it's going to make a huge impact in the world. And so thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. And Pam and Kyndall, any final thoughts to share before we head out of here?
Well, I just really want to thank you, Dave Burgess, and everyone, Shelley and Tara, and all the folks who've given us so much support in bringing this book to fruition. And of course, my co-author, Pam, and like I said, her brilliant framework that we've been able to center this book around. It's really been a wonderful, wonderful experience for me.
And likewise, I know that this book wouldn't have been written if it hadn't been for our partnership. It was just the accountability that we held for each other, and the fact that we could go back and forth. And, even though we always agreed on making a difference for kids, we didn't always necessarily agree on and we could go toe to toe, and that was just great. That was great to be able to have that kindred spirit. But I also want to say, piggybacking on what you just said, Dave, yes, this is for K-12, but we also know that there are colleges of education that are responsible for preparing teachers and for preparing K-12 educators. So we've had a lot of our colleagues have shown interest. So if, it's definitely can be something for colleges and people who are preparing and training K-12 educators.
Yeah, that's a fantastic point. And hopefully we'll see this be adopted by college classrooms who are working with their education students. And that's going to be fun to see too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, absolutely. We hope that happens.
Yeah. Well, thank you again to everyone has tuned in to celebrate this book birthday for us, Choosing to See, a Framework for Equity in the Math Classroom. And please go pick it up. And we would love for you to share your thoughts with us. If you're going to use a hashtag, the hashtag is choosing the number 2C. So hashtag choosing 2C. And make sure you can tag us at DBC and tag Pam and Kyndall. And we would love to see your thoughts as you go through the book and read it. And congratulations again. And thanks to everyone who tuned in. And have a fantastic day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.